algebra, we are going to start chapter 4-2, graphing with intercepts. And while we're doing that, we learned in the last class how to graph using table of values by making our own table of values. So today, we're going to look at using our x and y intercepts. We talked a little bit about those in the last class, what they are and what they mean. And in doing so, we know that there's an x-intercept and a y-intercept. We know that when we find the x-intercept, our y value is always 0. Our y value is always 0, okay? So I'm going to write y equals 0, and then I'm going to find the x value. And then, after that, I'm going to find the y-intercept by writing x equals, putting 0 in for x, and then I'm going to plot the x and y-intercept, and I'm going to connect it with dots. How many dots am I going to have? 2 dots. That's all I'm going to have for this graph. Now, remember table of values, we had 4 dots, minimum of 3. But here, we're just going to have 2 dots. That's super important. So if we're looking at this graph, we're going to graph this equation, we're going to still make a table, but our table's going to look a little bit different. So here's still my x value. I'm going to write down my equation exactly the way it is, and I'm going to write down my y value. Okay, so what did I say? We need to first do our x-intercept, and we're going to do that by letting y be 0. Okay, so what does that look like in our equation? 5x minus 2, y is 0, equals 10. Okay, so now I need to do this math. Negative 5 times x minus 2y, or minus 2 times 0. What's 2 times 0? 0. So that's going to 0 out. This will 0 out. So then I've got negative 5x equals 10. All right. How do I get x by itself? You're right. Divide by negative 5 on both sides. So x equals negative 2. So x equals negative 2. Now, do you need to show all that work in here? Not necessarily. Maybe you want to show that work somewhere else. Maybe you want to just write this part down. So maybe this part gets written down with the 0 substituted, but then maybe we do the rest on our calculator. Okay, or maybe we write down all of it. That's fine. You're only finding 2 points. So my next point I'm going to find is my y-intercept. And my y-intercept I find by making my x equals 0. Okay, so what does that say? Negative 5 times 0 minus 2y equals 10. Okay? Again, this will be equal to 0. So I'll have minus 2y equals 10. Divide both sides by negative 2. Make sure it's negative. When I do that math, that'll cancel. I've got y equals negative 5. So this is negative 5. So my x-intercept is 0. Nope. My x-intercept is negative 2, 0. I'm sorry. My y-intercept is 0, negative 5. Okay. So now I need to graph that. My x-intercept is negative 2, 0. Start at 0. Oops, I don't want a dot there. I go over 2 in the negative direction. Oops. Yep, I do want a dot there. And I go up 0. So that's my first point. Then I need to do my y-intercept. I go over 0. And which way am I going to go to get this 5? Down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there. I've got my 2 dots. And now I am going to connect my line. I'm going to use my line that draws everything in right away. Okay, so I drew my line, and that's what my line looks like. I've got arrows on the end. I go beyond my points, and I cross my x-axis and my y-axis. All right? Please don't make this hard. That's all we've got. Let me fix my screen really quick. There we go. Now you can see everything. And that's all we've got. Okay? Let's do another one. Okay? Next equation. Why does it keep doing that? All right. Apparently I was still on the line. Sorry. Okay. My x, my y equals 1/2 x plus 4, and my y. So that looks like a 4. There we go, my 1. Okay, so what do I have to do? Put my 0 in. Put your 0 here, put your 0 here, find your answer. Okay, let's see. Y equals 1/2 0 plus 4. Here my 0, find that answer. Here my y is 0, so I have 0 equals 1/2 x plus 4. Solve this equation. Give me your answers. Pause the video to do so. Okay, so for your y-intercept, you should have got 0, -4. And for your x-intercept, you should have got -8, 0. So let's graph those. 0, go over and up 0, or go over 0, up 4. That's my first one. Then go over -8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. -8's not going to fit on here. So what can I do? I could change my scale. I could make each one of these 2. So if this is 2, then this is going to be -2. So I'd have -2, -4, -6, -8. And it's okay for your scale to be 2 going across, but 1 going up. That's okay. As long as you indicate what it is, you're good. And so you could do it that way. Or what we could do is maybe we could move this over a little bit and add a point on the end. I think that's what we'll do. Okay? So, now my dot's off. I'll have to fix that. Okay. -8, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 would be about right there. Okay? And then if I fix my 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, put it back on the axis, I'm good. And now I can draw my line. Okay? So I would want to go past this dot. I don't know that I'm going to get too far because I'm at the end, but you would want to go past that dot, please, and make it nice and straight. And there you go. You graphed a line using your x-intercepts and your y-intercepts. So what happens if you have a situation? What happens if you have a situation? Well, here's my dream car. What's your dream car? We'll talk about that tomorrow. So here's what we want to do. Sean has a car loan for $7,500 and pays $250 per month to pay off the loan. He uses the equation y equals 7,500 minus 250x, because x represents the number of months that he's been paying for that loan. Y represents the remaining balance on the loan. To determine his remaining balance, figure out the x and the y-intercepts on the table, sketch a graph, and put the intersects into context. Okay? So, let's make a table. No problem. Except that keeps happening every time. All right, now let's make a table. So I've got my x. I've got my y equals 7,500 minus 250x. And I've got my y. All right. I would like you to find your x and y intercepts. How are you going to set that up? Come back and check your answer. So pause the video and then come back to check your answer. Okay, so when you put your 0 in for your x, you should have calculated that your y was 7,500. When you put 0 in for your y, you should have calculated that your x value is 30. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what the x and y intercepts are, part C, and then we'll sketch a graph. Okay, so when I am looking at that, my x-intercept means that at 30 months, because x is months, number of months, right? I owe $0. Okay? And at 0 months, I owe $7,500. So that's what my intercepts mean. Now let's sketch that graph. So if I'm going to sketch the graph, it's literally just a sketch. So I'm going to put my 7,500 up here. Okay. I am going to put my 30 down here. Okay. This is number of months. This is how much I owe. Okay? And then I'm going to take my line and I'm going to connect my dots. And that's it. Use a ruler to make sure your line is nice and straight. There we go. Okay. Good. I would like you to think about this book problem. You have an overdue library book that you should have returned earlier this month. The equation given represents your situation. X represents the number of weeks and Y represents the amount owed. So X represents the number of weeks, Y represents the amount owed. Okay? If that's true, then we can label our axes in context. My X value, remember, is number of weeks. What are you going to put over here? Okay? You are going to do your X and y-intercept. You're going to have your negative 5x plus 2y equals 10 here. And you're going to come with this done in class. So find your x-intercept and your y-intercept. And make sure you come with those two numbers. And then I would like a sketch as well. And then think about what it means. So letter A, when was the book due? And how much money do you owe for the book? So think about what the intercepts mean. Remember that this is weeks. And this is money owed. And come with this problem finished. God bless.